This is for the camera. I have to
Right.
give my. No, it's okay. If you're in, that's all chaotic. Okay. Good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here at Yeshiva Sami Nafshi in Yerushalayim Yer Kodesh. The first year of the day, we're learning and getting preparations ready for Hanukkah. Topics of interest, and we're located on Rehov Zikron Yaakov number 6 in the building of Hanahi Yeshivas. And we're close to the central bus station, so you have easy access to get to us. Please drop in and join us for the shirim, and if you want, you can contact us in many different ways, as you'll obviously know and see about. We're learning now a bit of Gemara in the Gemara in Erechim, having to do with the mitzvah, I would say, of Hallel on Hanukkah. We're trying to understand a little bit about our obligations on that, and one of the primary ones is the mitzvah of Hallel. So the Gemara begins about 10 lines or less from the bottom of the Amid. Rachamim, you have it there. It says the Amid. We're going to bring Mishna honey, Holavi Yachid Gomer Behen Es Hallel. The Amar of Yonatan. You start right there. The Amar of Yochanan.
The Amar of Yochanan. Shum Rabbi Shimon ben Yotzadak.
Yotzedek.
שמונה עשר ימים שהיחיד גומר בהן את ההלל. The person finishes the Hallel. It is a whole Hallel.
So the 18 days during the course of the year, during the whole course of the year, there are 18 days that the Yachid will say a full Hallel.
שמונה ימי החג, which is Sukkot, ושמונה ימי חנוכה, 8 days of Hanukkah, and Yom Tov Rishon, so Pesach, the first day of Pesach, Yom Tov Rishon, Yom Tov Shel Atzeres.
So they leave the brackets, right? Okay. Yom Tov Shel Atzeres. Right? So you have 18 days, you have 8 days of Chag Sukkot, you have 8 days of Hanukkah, that's 16, Yom Tov Rishon Shel Pesach, that's 17, and Atzeres is referring to Shavuos. When we refers to Atzeres, that's in general referring to Shavuos. That gives you 18. That's in Eretz Yisrael. Ubegoyle in Golos, meaning Chutz La'aretz.
Ubegoyle, 21. 21. Isha Yemei Chag.
So in Chutz La'aretz you have 20. In Chutz La'aretz you have 21 days. Esrim V'Echad. Teish Yemei Chag. You have 9 days for Sukkot. Right, you're adding the last day of what's called Simchas Torah and Chutz La'aretz.
ושמונה ימי חנוכה, it is Hanukkah, שני ימים, 2 days of Yom Tov of Pesach.
That means the first 2 days, meaning the first day Yom Tov and the second day Yom Tov of Yom Tov Rishon in Chutz La'aretz. So that gives you 9 for Sukkot, 8 for Hanukkah, right? That gives you 17. 2 days of Pesach, that gives you 19. And 2 more days of Shavuos, that gives you 21. Okay. As we pointed this out once before, I'm not sure if we'll go into it in detail, but you notice that Shmona Yemei Hanukkah remained the same even in Golos, right? So there are, in fact, some commentaries that learned that at the time when the new moon, and the new month rather, was Miskadesh Alidei Riyah, and they had sent out shluchim from Yerushalayim, from based in Yerushalayim, they sent out shluchim to inform everyone in Chutz La'aretz that in fact what day the Rosh Chodesh fell out on, and if those places would not have gotten to the messengers would have not gotten to them, those places by the 25th of Kislev, they would in fact keep 9 days of Hanukkah. Okay, but we see that's probably not the majority, so we can explain this Gemara not mentioning 9 days of Hanukkah because it's not the majority. There are other teruchim why some hold it in Klal, they don't. 8 days was 8 days and that's it, finally, and without any 9 days at all. Some hold that it was 9 days. The Minchas Chinuch on the Sefer The Chinuch says that even in Lasad Lavoy, Bez Hashem, when there'll be a base of Mikdash, and we Makadosh Al Pi Ariyah also, then if it's necessary, they would in fact maybe keep 9 days. But so there's a discussion about that. 9 days? Okay, but if we have a chance, we'll go into that, but that's not our point right now. But just to notice that Hanukkah remains stable, right? Even though the Doraisas of the Yom Tovim added 2 days, right? That's one of the teachings is given, as a matter of fact, that since Hanukkah is the Rabbanan, so we don't have to be Hoshish for a suffix and add another day. Right? In contrast, the days which are the Doraisa, Sukkot, Pesach, and Shavuos, you have to be Hoshish as Doraisa and add another day. Okay. Now the Gemara goes into some questions based on this mind.
Mishna, what's the difference? Bechag, it's Sukkot. Amrei, Ko Yoma. I mean, they say the Hallel all the 8 days. Mishna b'Pesach,
Oh, so we see by Sukkot, all the days of Sukkot we say a full Hallel. In contrast, on Pesach we only say a full Hallel on the first day in Eretz Yisrael, and the 2 days of the first days in Chutz La'aretz. The rest of the day is not a full Hallel. So what's the difference?
Kol Yom, the Chag Chalukim, Korban Tehem. The Sukkot is divided or it's a difference. There's a difference in
there's a distinction between the Korbanos on Sukkot, since there's a distinction in the Korbanos. As look at the top Rashi, first line in Rashi there, Yemei Chag Chokim b'Korbanoseihem, the days of Sukkot, there are distinctions in the sacrifice that are brought. Why the Paria Chag Nismaitim b'Chokim, that the parim, the oxen, the cows that are brought on the Mizbeach during the sacrifices of Sukkot, they start off and they get lower and lower, and they diminish from one day to the next, right? So therefore, it's considered like a new, fresh day. And therefore, there's a fresh Hallel, a full Hallel on each and every day of Sukkot. In contrast, not like that by Pesach. The Pesach ein chokim b'korbanoseihem. By Pesach, there is no contrast in the korbanos. Okay?
The Pesach ein chokim b'korbanoseihem.
I mean, the amount and the type of korbanos offered on Pesach remain the same. It's a status quo. Each and every day of Pesach remains exactly the same. So therefore, it's continued to be a one constant block of time, and therefore it's not a full Hallel for each and every day. In Sukkot, each and every day is a new day, therefore it's considered to be a new Yom Tov, and therefore you say Hallel in full on Sukkot, in contrast, not that way on Pesach. So now the Gemara asks the question.
Shabbat the Chalukah. Shabbos that is divided?
Yeah, so we see Shabbos in contrast to the rest of the days of the week. You see there's a special korbans and korbanos that are brought on Shabbos. So if the difference between Sukkot and Pesach is that one day is different from the next by Sukkot, so that's why you say full Hallel. So on Shabbos, where the korbanos are different in the days of the week, the Gemara asks, well, why don't we say Hallel on Shabbos? There's a good reason why we should say Hallel on Shabbos, and we know we don't say Hallel on Shabbos, right?
There wasn't any Ness on Shabbos.
Well, who mentioned anything about Nes? Right? At this point, nobody mentioned anything about Nes. Okay, so that's a very good point. That's one of the reasons why we're learning this Gemara. We're going to get to the concepts and the ideas dealing with the Nes as we get further onto the Gemara, right? But that's going to be one of the reasons why I picked to learn this Gemara today. Okay, but true, right? There's no mention at this point in the whole discussion of the Gemara. There was no mention of miracles, correct? Okay, so we see for the Gemara asks, well, Shabbos, the korbanos are different, so why don't we say lema? So let's say lema lo. Why don't we say Hallel on Shabbos? So the answer is Lo ikri
Lo
moed.
ikri moed.
Shabbos is not called a moed. Shabbos is Shabbos, it's not called a moed. So we see from this that in order to say Hallel, you have to have a status of being a moed. Has to be.
It's Hanukkah is not called Moed.
Oh, good point. Very good point. Hold on.
Okay.
We're on the right track. Very good. So we see that it has to be called a moed. Okay.
Shabbos is a moed?
No, Shabbos is not a moed. A moed is what a moed is, see, Shabbos reoccurs on a constant basis, right? It's true that the Yom Tovim, Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot reoccur on a yearly basis, but Shabbos reoccurs on a constant weekly basis. So it's not like a moed is like a type of a seasonal event. That's not the exact translation of moed, but it's like a seasonal event. In contrast, Shabbos is a constant weekly event. We can spend more time on this if you want to. Once we move further on from what we're discussing now, it's important. What's the contrast between Shabbos and the Moedim? We can try and discuss that. Continue. So now the Gemara asks a question. Morning. Right there.
It says Rosh Chodesh, Ikri Moed, Emelo. Why don't we say Hallel on Rosh Chodesh? We do say Hallel on Rosh Chodesh.
No, I'm right. Okay, we said 1 second. First of all, hold on. Was Rosh Chodesh mentioned in the 18 or 18 days in Chutzlor, in the Eretz Yisrael, and 21 days in Chutzlor? Hallel was not mentioned, because that's those are the days that Yochid is going as a Hallel. They say a full Hallel, right? Say a full Hallel, right? In contrast, Rosh Chodesh is not a full Hallel.
Definitely.
So what the Gemara is asking now is as follows: if the main consideration by which we have a right to say a full Hallel is because it's a moed, so because Shabbos is not a moed, so we don't say it on Shabbos, right? But if it would be a moed, we would say, right? So we now consciously say, hey, Rosh Chodesh is not a like the Gemara says. What about Rosh Chodesh? Yeah.
It's a moed. Rosh Chodesh.
Oh, so the question, so if Rosh Chodesh is a moed, I'm just going to get the Gemara back to where it belongs here. Yeah.
Rosh Chodesh is called a moed?
So it said again, let's say, Shabbos b'chaluka b'karbonoseha, lema, let's Hallel be said on Shabbos. So Teretz is lo mikra moed, it's not called a moed. So Rosh Chodesh is ikri moed, lema, right? So the Gemara says Rosh Chodesh, which is called a moed, right? Is called a moed, right? Then you should say a full Hallel on Rosh Chodesh. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we can get into this further on. If I'm not mistaken, that when the fact that we say Hallel on Rosh Chodesh is minor, which is a different status than a Hallel we say on Yom Tovim. Okay, well, we can get into that a little bit more. I'm not prepared to speak about that right now. But we see now that the Gemara suggested that since moed is what defines the obligation to say Hallel, Rosh Chodesh should also be defined as being required to say a full Hallel as well. That's the teretz. What's the Gemara's teretz? Why don't we say a full Hallel on Rosh Chodesh?
Wasn't
hasn't been set aside, hasn't been singled out. Something was elected, so something was set aside. It's been specified by Sis Malachah. It hasn't been set aside in the realm of not doing Malachah. The Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot, we are forbidden to do Malachah, right? So the Ikdush, they're sanctified through the refraining from doing Malachah. Rosh Chodesh is not sanctified for not doing Malachah. So therefore we don't say Hallel or full Hallel is on Rosh Chodesh. How do we know from this concept of Itish Basis Malacha? There's a puzzle.
השיר,
Hashir.
יהיה לכם חליל
Is Kaddish.
קדש.
Chag. So, this is the pasuk in Yeshaya. Hashir yeh lechem klil Kaddish Chag. So it says you have a shir, a song will be for you. Klil is Kaddish. It'll be like a crown of sanctification. The Chag, the festival. Okay, so so the fact that it says shir, right? It says shir. The pasuk, you see the fact that the pasuk is saying shir, which is a reference to Hallel, right? The Rashi, you see the Rashi, the fourth line down in Rashi, the last wide line from the top. It says, right, Hashir. That's Hallel. Hallel. So shir of that pasuk is referring to Hallel. Mekudish Basis Malacha. So it says here, we're learning from the pasuk, Hashir yeh lechem klil tiskadesh chag. So you have a song that will be for you on that day, which is crowned with sanctification, and that will be a time when you say Hallel. Okay, so Rosh Chodesh doesn't have that aspect, so we don't say a full Hallel at least on Rosh Chodesh. Okay.
We say all of it.
Excuse me.
We say most of it.
Well, we don't say a full Hallel. So now the Gemara goes further with the drasha on the pasuk. It says here, go ahead.
קדש חג. לילה המקודש,
Hamukdash
המוקדש,
l'chag.
לחג, tzon shira. It is necessary to say Hallel. שאין מקודש לחג, אין tzon shira.
So the Gemara adds another concept here. The night, which is the meaning, it's a full day. The Chag is a full day, including the night, and also the day following that night. If the night is Mukdash l'Chag, the night is sanctified for the Chag, meaning that you don't do malacha neither at night nor during the day. So then that day, that Chag requires that there be shira, there be Hallel. V'she'ein Mukdash l'Chag, if there's no night which is Mukdash l'Chag, if there's no, in general, sanctification of not doing malacha for that festival, i.e., in other words, Rosh Chodesh, ain't to ensure you don't have to have any Hallel, so there's no necessity of Hallel on Rosh Chodesh. Okay, the Gemara continues further.
The Chag ein tzon of shein mekudesh l'Chag. Ein tzon, l'Chag ein tzon, shira Rosh
Shir,
Chodesh.
period. Ain't to shira, period.
Oh, the Chag ein tzon shira.
So again, the more reads as follows. Okay, so we asked the question: Shabbos tikolik b'korbanos. The Shabbos, which has different korbanos than the days of the week. Lema, let Hallel be said on Shabbos. The Gemara said, "Lo yikri moed." Shabbos, you don't say Hallel because it's not called the moed. Right? Rosh Chodesh, the Gemara said in question, ikri moed. Rosh Chodesh is called a moed, right? Lema. So let Hallel be said on Rosh Chodesh. So the Gemara says, "Lo yizkei it kiddush be'isiyas malacha." It's not sanctified through the refraining of doing malacha. How do we know that? The Ksiv, it says in the following pasuk, "Hashir yeh lechem klil is kadesh chag laila hamukdosh lechag toin shira." The night which is sanctified with not doing malacha, that requires that day, that Yom Tov, that moed requires Hallel. V'she'ein mukdash l'chag ein torin shira. And if it's not mukdash l'chag, then it doesn't require shira. So therefore, Rosh Chodesh doesn't have that aspect, and therefore there's no necessity to say Hallel on Rosh Chodesh. Now the Gemara continues its line of questioning. Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippur. Go ahead.
Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, Tikru Moed, they are called the Moed.
V'ikdosh. I guess that's what ikdosh. Basiyas malacha.
Shamacha. It's forbidden to Melacha on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur.
Lema. So the question is as follows: you have Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, which are called Moed, and they're also ukdash basiyas malacha. There's a prohibition of doing malacha on Rosh Chodesh, on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Lema. So let therefore halal be said on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So why not? The answer is
Shum the Amar Rabbi Avahu. Amu Malchei Sharet. I think which before the Malachim said Sharet, they said before the Kodesh before they asked, Ribono Shel Olam, Mipnei Ma Ein Yisrael Omri Shira B'Fenecha. Why is it that the Yisrael doesn't say Shira on these days before you? Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippurim.
so let's stop. So we're answering. The Gemara is going to answer in the Maimer of Rabbi Avahu. The Amar Rabbi Avahu. Rabbi Avahu said as follows: Amar Malachi Yesharis l'fnei Kadosh Baruch Hu. The Malachi Yesharis, the ministering angels, said in front of the Ribono Shalom, Ribono Shalom, Mipnei Ma Ein Yisrael Mim Shira L'Fnecha B'Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Why are the Jews saying Shira in front of you, right? Meaning in their service, in their prayers, during Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. What was the answer?
On the other hand, he said to them, Kodesh Baruch Hu said to the Malachim, if Shav Melech Yoshev Kisei Adin, is it possible that a king will sit on a Kisei Adin, on the seat of strict judgment, B'Sifrei Chaim, in a book of life, Sifrei Metim, the book of the living and the book of the dead, Pituchim Lefanav, and it is open for him. Yisrael Omrim, let's see.
Yisrael Omrim Shira. Lefanai.
Oh, Yisrael Omrim Shira Lefanai, and Yisrael would say Shira before me.
So the answer, Ribono Shalom, that they asked, why aren't they saying Shira? Why aren't the Jews saying Halel Shira on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah? Amru Lehem responded to them: is it possible the Melech Yishoshi al Kisei Adin? Is it possible that the king is sitting on his throne of judgment? The Sifrei Chaim, the Sifrei Mesim Poskim Lefonav, and the books that there is going to be a inscription for life and inscription for death will be poskim lefonav, will be open in front of the king. The Israel at that time will be singing Shira lefanai, in front of me, right? So therefore, it's not an appropriate time. I mean, it's true. There is a prohibition of malacha on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and it is also called a moyed. Yet, nevertheless, right, there's another reason why Shira is not appropriate during the judgments that take place on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So now the Gemara continues. This is going to be the point that we wanted to get to here.
V'ha Chanukah. And this Chanukah, the lo hachi. Isn't this and isn't that.
Now, so what does that mean? Hanukkah is not this and not that.
It's not a moed.
Good, right? Hanukkah is not a moed. Good question, very good.
And you're allowed to do malacha.
And you can do malacha. And yet, nevertheless, we see that the Brisa mentioned that Hanukkah is one of the 8 days of the year that we are going as a halal. So how can it be? And we nevertheless Kamar, they're saying halal. So how can it be? It violates all the rules. We've set up a series of rules, and now it's violated the rules. So how can Hanukkah fit into the 18 days in Eretz Israel that the people are saying halal?
Mishum Nisa.
Oh, the answer is because of the nes. Okay, so we're saying halal on Hanukkah for a nes. Okay. Gemara goes a couple of more steps in the Gemara, Yeah, well, a few more lines, then we can open the discussion.
Okay, it says Purim Dika Nisa. The Purim also has an S.
Oh.
Lema, we should say.
Oh, so if Hanukkah we say Hallel because of an ace, so on Purim we should also say Hallel because of an ace, right? Why not? And we know we don't, so we have to give an answer for that.
Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Lefi she'ein omrim shira al nes shebchutz haaretz.
Oh, there's a rule here, right? Says Rabbi Yitzchak, we have a rule. We don't say shir on an ace that took place in Chutz La'aretz. And we know Shushan Abira was while we were in Gullus in Chutz La'aretz. So therefore the ace that took place in the time of Purim was a ace of Chutz La'aretz. We don't say shira on an ace that took place in Chutz La'aretz. We're not going to go into why that should be. That's a whole separate discussion. At one point maybe we can discuss it. But the answer Pashtus in the Gemara now is of an ace in Chutz La'aretz we don't say. However, there's a question. The Gemara goes and says the Gemara doesn't leave this alone. The Gemara asks right away. Maskif, which is a Lashon Maskif, is a very strong question, right, Yisrael? Yeah, Maskif is a very strong question.
Matkif. Question.
Questions Rav Nachman Bar
Rav
Yitzchak.
Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Harei Yitziat Mitzrayim. The Nes b'chutz haaretz. Who? The going out from Mitzrayim is also in chutz haaretz. And why do we say Hallel and Pesach?
Right? We see that Yitzias Mitzrayim was an ace that took place in Chutz La'aretz, and we say Hallel.
Tanya, did you say it right there? Ad shalom nichnasu Yisrael La'aretz Uksharu kol haaretzot u'mashira. That's all Israel wasn't in settling in Eretz Israel.
Meaning, Ad Shalom means before. Kedetanya, right? So we say when Kedetanya, the answer is going to be Kedetanya, Ad Shalom Niknasu Eretz Yisrael. Before we Niknasu, that's a Lashon Rabbi, before we, meaning the Jews, came into Eretz Yisrael. Hukshu, go ahead.
Hukshu kol haaretzot u'mashira. Then it was allowed and it was okay to say Hallel in Chutz Haaretz.
Right. For anything that happened in Chutz La'aretz before we came into Eretz Yisrael, then anything would be proper that we could say Hallel because of a nace that took place in any place, even in Chutz La'aretz.
Okay, kol haaretzot u'mashira mishenechnasu. And when we did enter Eretz Yisrael, lo hukshu.
Kol Haaretzos Shir. From when we came, Mishaniknasu La'aretz, from when we came into the land, Lo Hukshu Kol Haaretzos Lo Mashir. Then no longer were all the other lands and Chutz La'aretz available and proper to be said on Nisim that they happened there, and to say Hallel on those Nisim that took place over there.
Well, it does Hanukkah say full Hallel, right?
Excuse me?
It does 8 days of Hanukkah say full Hallel.
Yes.
Sukkot why we say full Hallel? No, wait.
Excuse me?
But it's not going to say full Hallel because of the Egyptians.
Let's continue. We'll continue a little bit further. Hold on to your question, okay?
Continuing?
Yeah, we'll finish up today. I think because it's already very relevant and basic yesodis over here.
Rav Nachman Amar, Karita Zo.
So this is another teretz. The first teretz, we're in the middle of the question the Gemara asks, if Hanukkah we say a nace, or if Hanukkah we say Hallel, because there was a nace that took place on Hanukkah, we say a Hallel for that reason. So the Gemara asks about Purim, there was a nace also. So why don't we say Hallel during Purim, right? The answer was that it was a nace that took place in Chutz La'aretz, right? But the Gemara asked then, Yitzias Mitzrayim took place in Chutz La'aretz. Why don't we say not say then Hallel on the nace that took place during Yitzias Mitzrayim? So then Gemara answered that was before we came into Eretz Yisrael. But after we came into Eretz Yisrael, then only those miracles that could be said Hallel upon had to be taking place specifically in Eretz Yisrael, not in Chutz La'aretz. Now we're going to give another answer. That's one answer. Another answer. Rav Nachman gives another answer.
רב נחמן אמר, וקריתא זוהי הלילה. הלילה.
Halela, meaning it's prayed. It's prayed. Right? Rashi says, what's the Kriyasa? Rashi, look at the end of the fourth line in the Rashi. Kriyasa, go ahead. 2 words in the Rashi. Kriyasa. Have it the Rachmin.
Where is this?
4th line in Rashi.
I got it. Kriyasa, Kriyat, a Megillah. That, or the Megillah is in place of the Hallel.
Right. This is the, and I think if not mistaken, I think this is one of the reasons that the Mishna brings down, right? That the Hallel, the reading of the Megillah is in place of Hallel. A different reason. Another reason, Rav Omer, a third reason. Why don't we say Hallel during Purim?
Rambam, Shlomo.
Bishleima
is well and good.
Being in truth.
In truth. Hatam over there. Hallelu of the Hashem, love the Paro. I guess in the Mitzrayim.
Right. So by Yitzias Mitzrayim, we're saying praise to Kadosh Baruch Hu because we were now the servants of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and we were no longer the servants of Paro. That's a big transition. Right, a tremendous transition that's worth saying Hallel about. Hacha by Purim, however.
Hacha halalu of the Hashem, v'lo of the Achaz.
This is like a question. Hacha halalu of the Hashem, v'lo of the Achashverosh.
Oh, okay.
Here, we're the servants of Hashem and not the Avdi. We're not the servants to Achashverosh. Akati stills.
Still of the Achashverosh.
Anan.
Okay.
And even after the nace of Purim. Right, even after the miracles of Purim, as great as they were, right, we remained nevertheless Avdi Achashverosh, right? The proof being that when we wanted to, we couldn't leave to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash except with the permission of Daryavish, who was the successor to the crown of Achashverosh. He gave us permission to come back to Eretz Yisrael, to Yerushalayim, to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. But without that permission, we wouldn't be allowed to, because we're the Avdi Achashverosh Adayin. Okay, we can just finish up one more line. For Rav Nachman, according to Rav Nachman, that said Kriyasa hi Hallel, and Rav Nachman gave the answer that the reading of the Megillah is the Hallel. So according to Rabbi's reason, we shouldn't be saying Hallel at all, right? When you analyze these 3 terutzim, these 3 terutzim of why we don't say Hallel on Purim, there's an afkamina, there are differences in between them. According to the first reason, that it was an ace in Chutz La'aretz, right? So there's no reason whatsoever to say Hallel. According to the third reason of Rava, 1 minute, of Rava, right? The third reason, also there's no reason to say Hallel, because we still have the Achashverosh. Only according to the middle reason of Nachman, he holds that really there is a reason to say Hallel, right? However, it's substituted by the Kriyas Megillah. So the Gemara wants to tie that up and say the Rav Nachman Damer Kriyas hi Hallel, according to Rav Nachman, that holds that we really are saying Hallel, that the Kriyas Megillah is the Hallel for Purim. At Tanya, we have a question. Go ahead, Rechmim. Let's finish it up.
התניא, מי שנכנסו לארץ לא הוכשרו כל הארצות, כמו שירה. כיוון שגלו, חזרו לטירן הראשון.
So this is a very big yesod. According to Rav Nachman, that holds that the Hallel Purim is the Kriyas Megillah, meaning we are saying Hallel, but we said sof kol sof that why we at all thinking about saying Hallel on Purim, it still remains a nes that took place in Chutz La'aretz. So the teretz has to be Kivin Shegolu Chozer Latir Harishon. Since we went into Golus, therefore the permissibility of saying miracles that take place in Chutz La'aretz return to its original state, and therefore, in theory, we should be saying Hallel during Purim, and in fact, the Kriyas Megillah is the Hallel for Purim. Okay, very good. So,
Point where we only allowed to say Hallel in Eretz Yisrael?
no, that's not the point here. The point is only a nes that took place in Eretz Yisrael. We say. Now, this is where we're gonna start and open the discussion, and we're gonna try and finish it tomorrow. We said over here the Gemara said Mishum Nisa Purim Ike Nisa, right? So we've been spending the last week or so in preparation to Hanukkah trying to understand what's our real intention when we're saying Hallel on Hanukkah. What are we saying Hallel for? So the Gemara is making a comparison between Purim and Hanukkah. The nes that took place on Purim was a military victory, right? Clearly a military victory, right? It was the nitzachon of Mordechai and Esther of Haman, and the milchama that took place, and therefore we were able to be saved, right? The Hallel that we're saying on Hanukkah, right? We've been questioning, is that because of the nitzachon, the victory that took place, or because of the miracle of the Shemin, right? So here the Gemara is, it indicates to me that this Gemara is equating both Purim and Hanukkah together. So it seems to be that just like Purim was a nitzachon, it was a victory, a hatzalah, right? Likewise, and we should say Hallel for that, likewise, the Gemara seems to be learning the Hallel for Hanukkah is also because of the nitzachon, the hatzalah, the saving that HaKadosh Baruch Hu did for us, not the miracle of the nes. We spent some time. We'll discuss it a little bit more tomorrow. The Tosfos in Tainus, which starts with a very similar Gemara, mentions another point about Hanukkah because the nes was miskadel, the shemen was increasing, the miracle of the shemen was increasing day by day by day. That's why I say a full Hallel every day on Hanukkah. But here we seem to be seeing that the Gemara is learning that it's because of the victory that took place, right? The physical victory that took place, not the miracle of the Shemin. So, based on that, we'll continue this discussion tomorrow. And we'll now be having a share in Mishna.